throughout history, humans have used animals in war. From war horses charging into battle to Carthaginian Hannibal launching venomous snakes onto ships. Even dogs today being utilized on the front line. Let me ask you something. Have you ever heard of a spy cat? Not just any cat. A James Bond style CIA engineered $20 million feline agent. This is the story when the CIA tried to turn a cat into a high-tech espionage device. Let's just say things did not go as planned. This whole ordeal would receive the name of Project Acoustic Kitty, one of the strangest, most expensive, and downright saddest experiments. So, a little trigger warning here. How y'all doing today? My name is Acoustic, and if you guys like wild, crazy history, make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe, and even put post notifications on so you guys never miss out on the video. And trust me, the stories get even weirder from here, so you're definitely gonna want it. Now enough chit chat, let's get right into it. Now, a project like this would start somewhere around the 1960s, with the foundation of this project starting with a man named Burgess Frederick Skinner. This was the man who invented the Skinner box, and if you don't know what the Skinner box is, it was basically just like a box where like animals would be like trained in a controlled environment, and they would be rewarded or punished based on their behavior. We would be able to see this first during World War II when they had to train pigeons and rats, but it wasn't really successful. But for our circumstance, they would be utilizing cats. All right, let me tell you straight up. Even with searching through official government files, Acoustic Kitty was not really well recorded, so if I'm not 100% sure of what I'm talking about, I'm going to say allegedly or assumed, so as to not spread misinformation. So, during the 1960s, the CIA would allegedly acquire themselves a number of cats to conduct these experiments on. It wasn't reported how many cats exactly, but we could assume that it was a lot. For certain though, at least one made it out to the field. But for starters, the CIA would use a modified Skinner box for these cats to just train them with basic movements. You know, certain beeps would tell them to go left, certain beeps would tell them to go right, certain beeps would tell them to stop or go straight. You get the point. And after this was deemed as a success, they would then move the cats to an uncontrolled environment, you know, just to get them used to the real world and the real world sound. And here comes the CIA's first problem. I mean, yeah, you can send a cat out to spy on somebody, but if you don't have any spy devices, how are you supposed to know what the cat heard and saw? And of course, the most obvious thing to do would have a collar on the cat so it would be able to sense sound and even their location. But the CIA wanted to go a less detectable route. If by chance you are a cat lover, please mentally prepare yourself right now. The one official cat that they would use would be a gray and a white female that they would fit with a listening device, a power source, a transmitter, and an antenna. Now, where, you may ask, was it strapped to the cat? Hidden in the cat's fur? Sadly, no. They would surgically put all of these devices inside of the cat. They would put the battery in the cat's chest, a listening device in its ear, and they would have the antenna running from the back of its neck all the way through to the end of its tail. In 2001, an ex-CIA officer would talk to the Telegram News and explain the blunt yet gruesome transformation of this cat. They slit the cat open, put batteries in him, wired him up. The tail was used as an antenna. They made a monstrosity. After an hour-long surgery, the cat would be put in a recovery room where he would awake shortly after, and he would show no signs of being in serious pain. Although when put through a couple of tests, his behaviors would become, quote, inconsistent. It could be assumed that all these devices inside of the cat would mess it up, but the CIA just blamed it on cats being cats. Even with the report saying, the problem was that cats are not especially trainable. They don't have the same deep-seated desire to please a human master that dogs do. And an agency RoboCat didn't seem terribly interested in national security, which is honestly also kind of believable because if you're a cat owner, you kind of understand how stubborn your cats can really be. Despite this, our Acoustic Kitty was ready for her first run. Now, the idea for our cat's first mission was just to spy on two people that were sitting on a bench in the park. It was alleged that they were Russian spies, but regardless, our cat still had her first mission. But the idea was for the cat to be released, and then using sound signals, the CIA would tell the cat which way to go. It would listen in, then return safely back to the van that they had set up. Now that they had a plan, it was time for the execution. So our furry feline friend would be released, and even before fully crossing the street, she would be hit by a taxi. After $20 million and who knows how many cats, the one feline agent that actually made it out to the field would have died within less than 5 minutes. And just in case you were wondering, $20 million nowadays is about $174 million. So just imagine spending that much on a project, and it went to the gutter in less time than it took for Yogi to land out of a B-58 Hustler. After that failure, the CIA would completely scrap the project and move on to bugs. It just doesn't stop. Like, at what point, you know, what animal have they not used? Anyways, that would be all for Project Acoustic Kitty. Call it desperation or innovation, the government knew what they needed to win the Cold War, even if the means were less humane. But thank you all so much for watching. You all have a good day and a good night. Peace.